Hello and welcome to Pratik Chess Videos.
Hey Tessels, today we are going to see a game between Saint Amant and Staunton in the year 1843. This game was played in the match of 1843, which was type of the unofficial match of the world. So now let's start our game. But firstly, we should know that this game is the first positional chess masterpiece because well, positional chess as a concept was a latecomer to the game one, uh, but this was the first time uh, a player was able to win a really beautiful game because of fine positional play. Yes, this is the first time. So now let's start this game of an amazing game of Staunton. All right, d4, d5, c4, e6, e3, c5, knight c3, knight f6. Just some theory now. Knight f3. Well, bishop e7, bishop d3, b6, short castle, b3, bishop b7, c into d5, e into d5, queen to c2, knight to c6. Now a3, a6, and now rook to d1. Now this is a dubious move. Well, why exactly? So given that black is now basically forced to exchange on d4 and leave white with a pawn there, this rook will be misplaced. D into c5 would have been better. This was the last chance for Saint Amant to change the structure and saddle black with hanging pawns, as a modern master would do. But nope, in the game it was played rook to d1, c into d4, e into d4, h6. Now b4, bishop d6, rook e1, b5, h3, rook c8. This is all just a maneuvering, just pointlessly getting out pieces because there's not much to do in this position. Queen c7, bishop to d2, and now queen to b6. This is a good example of an odd habit of the players in this game of shuffling around without any fear of losing tempo. Well, the position is slow enough that the tempo losses cannot be brutally punished. So now bishop to e3, knight to e7, rook a c1, and now knight to h5. Dubious move. Well, for reasons they are very unclear to me, players in this, both players in this game are trying to get their knights on the edge of the board. Seriously, you'll see that in the game. So after knight h5, now queen to d1, but here queen d1 targets the thing. Good thinking by white, but after queen to d1, well, queen to d1, knight f6, and now knight h4. Mistake, I told you that the tendency of players in this game. Knight e5 should have been played. The white is slightly better, so knight f6, knight h4. That was a mistake, and now rook c7. Well, now queen to d2, knight h7, queen to c2. Now that's a dubious move, and knight to f6 or king to h1, and then knight to e8. This is also a dubious move. A slightly odd move, but I guess black wants to put the knight on d6 and then c4. But it's tricky to get the bishop away from d6. Now knight f5, dubious move. Knight into f5, bishop into f5, a5, dubious move. Queen to b3, mistake. Everybody is not playing so accurate in this game. Now a into b4, a into b4, rook to c4, knight to a2, dubious move, knight to f6, bishop to d3, and now queen to c6. Good move. Here's when things finally get spicy. The rook simply can't be captured now, but Staunton will soon convert this threatened exchange sacrifice into a legitimate exchange sacrifice. In all cases, Staunton will have great compensation if the exchange sacrifice is accepted. Now, queen to b2, bishop into c4 is a blunder because d into c4 and then checkmate will be threatened. So, now queen to b2, queen to d7, king to g1. Well, bishop into c4. Now the exchange sacrifice can be accepted, but black's compensation is incredible. Here as d into c4, threatening queen into s3 check, king to g1, and a knight to d5, and the amazing knight, two bishops, and the pawn structure secured black a major advantage. But in the game, none of this happened. In the game, black just played knight h5, which is a mistake. I told you about the tendency. The players are just putting their knights on the rim, and a knight on the rim is grim. So now bishop to b8. Now this is a possible improvement, and here black is slightly better. So now queen. So now, well, instead of bishop to b8, knight to h5 was played in the game. Queen to d2, another mistake, repeating the cycle. Now, if now bishop into c4, d into c4, d5 would have been a lot more unclear because the knight on h5 is very unhelpful, and also we free the d5 pawn, so that's why. But in the game, it was not played this. It was played queen to d2, still keeping the tension, but now f5 and then f4 mistake. What's the catch now? Now this only makes the bishop e3 worse, and also gives black the e4 square and the open e file to feast the rook and the knight with. So now f3 should have been played, leads to unclear position. So now f4, and now knight to g3, bishop into c4. Logical. The exchange sacrifice is finally accepted, and now d into c4. Now queen to b2. Well, now rook to f6 after queen to b2. And After rook to f6, knight to c3, knight to e4, rook to e2, which is an inaccuracy. Now rook to g6 and then rook to d1, another inaccuracy. Well, good going. Two inaccuracies there, not so nice. Now knight into c3, queen into c3, and then bishop to f3. Good move. Black is completely winning. Got it. Even after bishop to e4, Staunton would have a huge advantage due to positional compensation, but this move wins the material back, and now Staunton simply has a winning advantage with a great bishop versus a terrible one. I would call it a big pawn, actually, glorified pawn, and better access to the e file and many weak pawns to attack. Nice. So now just rook d e1, and now the game continues. Bishop into e2, rook into e2 is forced, queen e7, queen b2, rook e6, king to f2, logical moves, rook e4, queen to a2, now queen a check or something, white is just waiting, king to f7, g3, queen to b7, queen a3, rook to e8, and now queen to c3. Now this is a dubious move, another one. So now after this move, queen to h1, h4, and then g5. And good move, an excellent move, cracking things open just as black's pieces are fully activated and white's pieces remain tangled. So queen e1, queen h2 check, and now this is actually a piece of cake. King f1, queen s3 check. Now king g1, queen to g4, h into g5, bishop into f4. Good move, another little tactic. Nice little tactic here. So now bishop into f4, rook into e2. Well, not rook into e2 actually. Queen into e2. Alright. Queen into e2, rook into e2. So now after queen into e2, rook into e2, just d into h6, c3, and then after c3, king f1, then just rook to e4, bishop to c1, king to g6. Logical moves by both sides. d5, c2. Very logical. Bishop d2 and then rook into b4. Good move. Well, a little tick that white could not prevent. Now d6 and then rook b4, rook d4, king d2, rook into d6, We got the pawn, king e3, king into h6. We got the pawn, king e2 check, king to g6. Now king to e1 and then b4. And Saint Amant finally resigned. Well, now predict it. How much did this game go? It gone 66 moves and 14 hours. That's correct. The game had to be adjourned twice or thrice. 14 hours. Why did the game go 14 hours haywire? Because, well, Saint Amant is a he, very, well, the type of person who goes into time trouble, thinks very much. But in that time in chess wasn't yet there, so that's why they played and the game lasted over 14 hours. So this was the game. I hope you like this video. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the bell icon. Thank you.